Hey everyone, today I'm talking about a gaming PC that finally fixed the one thing that's been driving me nuts, trying to run modern games at decent settings without my rig sounding like a jet engine. If you've ever had to pause mid-match just to let your CPU cool down or deal with stuttering because your GPU couldn't keep up, this might be the machine you've been waiting for. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I picked up the Skytech Gaming Azure 3, and honestly, it feels like someone finally handed me a controller that actually matches the graphics on the box. This thing is packing an AMD Ryzen 7 9700X running at 3.8 GHz with a 5.5 turbo boost, so it doesn't just chug through everyday tasks, it actually breezes through them. I've had it editing 4K video while streaming to Twitch and still had headroom to jump into a round of Cyberpunk 2077 on Ultra without a single hiccup. The 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM at 6000 MHz means I'm not constantly closing Chrome tabs just to free up memory, and the 1TB NVMe SSD loads everything so fast it almost feels like cheating. Now, the graphics card is where this machine really starts to shine. It's rocking an NVIDIA RTX 5060 with 8 gigs of GDDR7 memory, and honestly, the difference from my old card is night and day. I can finally crank the settings up in Starfield without the frame rate tanking every time I turn around. Ray tracing actually looks smooth instead of like a slideshow, and DLSS keeps everything playable even when I'm pushing the visuals to the max. I've even tried running some of the newer indie titles at 1440p with all the eye candy turned on, and the card handles it without breaking a sweat. Cooling is something I used to worry about constantly, but Skytech nailed it with a 360mm ARGB AIO liquid cooler. The fans are quiet enough that I can actually hear myself think while gaming, and the liquid cooling keeps the temps in check even during long sessions. I've pushed this thing to its limits running stress tests, and the CPU rarely climbs above 75 degrees Celsius. That kind of headroom means I'm not babysitting the machine anymore, just set it, forget it, and enjoy the game. Connectivity is another area where this PC shines. It comes with built-in Wi-Fi, so I don't have to deal with another dongle cluttering up my desk. The 850-watt gold-rated PSU is overkill for most users, but it gives me peace of mind knowing I can upgrade components down the road without worrying about power limits. Plus, the system boots straight into Windows 11 with no bloatware, so I'm not spending the first hour uninstalling junk I never asked for. Gaming performance is obviously the star of the show here. I've tested everything from Call of Duty to Baldur's Gate 3, and the Azure 3 handles everything at high settings with frame rates that stay well above 60 FPS. Even demanding titles like Alan Wake 2 run smoothly once I dial in the settings, and the RTX 5060's ray tracing performance is finally something I can actually use without sacrificing too much performance. If you're still gaming on a 5-year-old rig, upgrading to this feels like jumping from SD to 4K. The only real downsides I've noticed are pretty minor. The case is a bit flashy for my taste. RGB everywhere can feel a little overwhelming if you prefer a more muted setup. Also, because this is a pre-built system, you're locked into the current configuration unless you're comfortable cracking it open and swapping parts yourself. If you're not into DIY upgrades, that could be a sticking point. All in all, the Skytech Gaming Azure 3 is a solid choice if you want a high-performance gaming PC that doesn't sound like a vacuum cleaner and actually keeps up with today's games. It's not the cheapest option out there, but when you factor in the CPU, GPU, and cooling setup, it's hard to find a better value in a pre-built machine. If you're tired of your current rig holding you back, this might be the upgrade you need. Check it out using the link below if it sounds like the right fit for you.